You're going.
Have you ever seen or heard of tightrope walking? Imagine this, but the performer can jump, do flips, and a variety of other tricks. The sport I have described as slacklining, and anyone can do it with a little bit of practice and the right equipment. I'm going to show you how to slackline, and I'm going to give you all the tools you need to learn what to buy, how to set it up on the trees, and how to take your first steps. First, I'm going to tell you what kind of slackline to buy. Gibbon makes a variety of slacklines. This one is the jib line, the one that I have set up here that's the yellow, and it's the classic line, and they also make the fun line. According to the Gibbon website, the fun line is a less dynamic and easier to use for beginners line. And this is better because it's less stretchy, has less dynamics to it. The jib line is the stretchiest of the three. The classic is just in between the fun line and the jib line. The jib line's for doing lots of jumps and lots of tricks and things like that. So for beginners, it's best to get either the classic line or the fun line because it'll be easier to walk because it won't bounce as much on you. Next, you want to decide what length to buy. Gibbon makes two different standard lengths, which are 15 meters and 25 meters. This one here is a 25 meter one, but as you can see, I don't have it set up for 25 meters, so it's generally better to just buy the 15 meter line because you won't use the other length until you get more advanced and you want to do longer lines. The third characteristic of the line is how wide it is. The lines that I have here are Gibbon lines, and they're about 2 inches thick. There's some other companies that make slack lines that are 1 inch thick. These lines are not as good to use because they're harder to tighten, they don't tighten as well, and they're a little harder to stand on because they're not as wide. Next, I'm going to show you how to set the slack line up on the tree. As you can see here, I've looped, this comes in two parts. You have your ratchet, which has a slip knot on it, and this other part of your rope, the main part of the rope, also has a slip knot on it, so you just slip both slip knots around the tree, and then you feed your line. This is just one big line that I have here, and I fed it through the ratchet, and then you'll want to pull this tight, and then you'll tighten your ratchet the rest of the way. And really with these ratchets, you can tighten it as much as you want, because these will get as tight as you want them to go. This is like a 4,000 pound test line, so as you can see, I set the line up about 12 feet wide. This is great for beginners. If you do longer line, it's a little bit harder to stand on because the line will sway on you more. And you can see the trees I've chosen have a pretty smooth bark, and the bark's not really getting ruined by the line. If you get a tree with soft bark or bark that comes off really easily, you want to wrap a towel around the line to protect the tree and your slack line. Next, I'm going to show you how to walk on the line, and I'm going to have my friend Lee get up on it so I can show you. The first thing you want to decide is what kind of footwear to use. Lee's wearing socks. You can do anything. You can wear shoes. You can go barefoot. I suggest going barefoot. It's easier to go barefoot because you can use your toes and other things, and you just get a better feel for the line when you're on the line. We're going to have Lee, and the first thing he's going to do is he's going to put his foot up on the line so it's parallel with the line. If you put your foot like perpendicular to the line, it'll be harder to balance on because you'll be swaying back and forth, and it'll be kind of like surfing. When you have your foot parallel to the line, you'll be able to control your balance more because you can control your balance this way and that way. So if you're a beginner, the best way to get on is to use someone's shoulder. It's a lot safer and it's just easier to do. So he'll just gently step up onto the line, and then when you start, you're going to want to try to stand on one foot. You'll be very shaky at first, but it's the best way to practice standing on the line. So Lee's pretty solid right now. He's been slacklining for a while. But when you first start, your leg will just shake uncontrollably, but you'll get used to it for a while. You just have to get used to putting your weight on it, things like that. Some tips for slacklining are, according to the Slackline Express website, it's good not to look at the webbing or at your feet while you're slacklining. This is because the webbing would be the slackline, and you don't want to look at that because it's moving. Feet in the slackline will be moving. It's much easier to balance when you're looking at a fixed object such as the tree or the ground around. That makes it a lot easier to slackline. Another trick to use that helps a lot is most people will be inclined to do this because they see tightrope walkers and they see them going like this with a pole. And what they're actually doing with that pole is they're moving it side to side to shift the weight. So if you just have your arms, you'd have to go like this to do that, and that's just awkward. You're going to go like this, so it's best to put your hands above your head and go like this because you'll shift your weight much easier. Now you've learned how to slackline, you've learned what kind of slackline to buy, where to set it up, and how to take your first steps. So go out and give slacklining a try.